Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Assistant Lecturer Sabrina Abdulkadhom, and today I'm going to give a presentation about my research paper that I wanted to present in Ahwaz conference. Before I do that, of course, I want to thank, of course, the Ahwaz conference for providing us with such a valuable opportunity. This is the third year that I have been participating in this conference. A very valuable place to express my thoughts, to express our new ideas, to look for the works of other people around the country and around the nation, around different countries around the world. So this is a very great opportunity, and I'm very happy to be part of it. So I want to thank every single person who works and gives all the support and has organized this conference from the bottom of my heart. And I hope I can participate next year as well. So thank you so much. Now I'm going to start with presenting my paper, or our paper, that I have worked with in collaboration with my colleague, assistant lecturer for Abbas Sahan, and Miss Amany Abdulridha, and our project is entitled Conspiracy Theories and the Concept of Foreshadowing in the Modern World, which I find a very interesting topic to talk about. And of course, we have researched this topic thoroughly, and we found that this information, or this research paper, was worthy of searching and worthy of giving a sense of focus to it. So, starting off with the contents of my paper, or our paper, it includes actually 4 parts. We have divided it as follows. First of all, we are going to give you an introduction about the meaning of conspiracy theory right here. And so we are going to explain what that means actually for those who have a slight idea about what the meaning actually includes. Part 2, we are going to talk about these conspiracy theories that are related to September 11th, 2001. And we are going to discuss the most important conspiracy theories that are related to it, of course. Part 3 includes the identification of the key elements. So, of course, every conspiracy theory cannot be considered as one if it does not include key elements, and there are 5, as we can see on the screen right here. And part 4 includes a literary perspective. We're going to see how conspiracy theories, such conspiracy theories, have influenced the literary field, and perhaps see if some of them actually foreshadow the event. We'll see. So we start with part 1, and we're going to understand what conspiracy theories actually mean. So conspiracy theory, as a definition, is very important to understand. So this idea has been around like a long time ago, since the movements started, like for example Stalinism, Nazism. Everything has a conspiracy theory. So it is very old, and it's mostly attached to movements. But if we talk about conspiracy theories today, we mostly start thinking about the New World. And when I say New World, we actually mean the American continent, specifically the USA. So it is very much related to the New World, or to the American continent. Now, who was the first one who came up with the conspiracy theory, or what does it actually include and where did it start? Now, all of us know that America was first of all inhabited by the Puritans. The Puritans who came from Europe and they have a strict Christian background and they came and settled down in America. And these Puritans, okay, from the purity they include, or they follow, these Puritans uh, had a way of thinking. They have a mentality, a behavior that was very, um, we call conspiratorial, or something that is thinking deeper than the actual thing. So, for example, if the Bible states something, they do not think of it very lightly. They always dig deeper into its meaning, hoping that they will reach a certain hidden meaning. So that's why we call it a conspiratorial way of thinking, or they actually form conspiracy theories. So the Puritans and the conspiracy theories was so much a part of their behavior that we see that the following generations actually were affected by this way of thinking. They do not think in a very normal way, they always think deeper or in the deep layers of anything they face in life. So that's why the American national identity was related to this way of thinking. So Americans today have the way of thinking just like the Puritans did before. So that is why everything that it happens there we see that conspiracy theories are born because of their way of thinking. So, if we want to come and define the conspiracy theories, we actually have it right here. It says that they are a set of ideas partly based on speculations about a political or historical event. So, in other words, if we have something political going on, something historical going on, we always notice that people are around there giving up their ideas and thinking deeper into the event. Whether it was political, whether it was historical, they always think deeper inside the event. So, um, when the event happens, they think that the person who is thought to be the one who has performed the event or who has caused the event, they think that there is another person behind him hiding, or what we call that there is a person who stages the event, but there are people who causes the move or who caused this person to move. So it is not, for example, the person who appears to be the murderer, but they believe that behind the murderer there is someone who is hidden and who has paid this murderer to perform this historical or political or any event that might have happened. So I hope that the meaning of conspiracy theories and the idea of how conspiratorial thinking works is clear now. And we have a very interesting way of defining this idea even further. It is when Van Prooijen and Van Vught in 2018 identified five key elements of how we can understand or how we can know that a way of thinking or a set of ideas is actually a conspiracy theory. And they presented five elements, which are as follows. Number one is pattern, two, agent, three, coalition, four, threat, and five, secrecy. So if we have these five key elements, we are sure that we are facing a concept that is called a conspirator or a conspiracy theory. So, what is the meaning of these five key elements? So, what do we have? What does a theory, such as a conspiracy theory, have in here? We have, first of all, it has a pattern, which means there must be a connection between the different elements of the story. Okay, so if there are people in the story, if there are objects in the story, and they are related together in general with the event, so if there is interconnectedness between the people, the objects inside a single event, this means that a single event, or actually maybe multiple events. So if there is some interconnectedness between these things, and we have this means that we have a general pattern, and this means that we have the first key element of a conspiracy theory. Two, a conspiracy theory should also include an agent. An agent means that there must be someone who performs the event or who causes a historical event or a political event or any event that is going on. So there must be a person who performs this act or this event. Three, coalition. This person must actually be a group of people, okay? Or he must represent a group of people. He is not alone, even if he appears on stage or on the event or when the event happens, when there is only one person who is suspected to have performed the event. Uh, Conspiracy theories always think that this person is led by a group of people. So he's not just an individual, okay? So if there is a murder going on, like for example, the murder of John Kennedy, I'm sure you know him, okay? So they believe that when they caught the murderer, that he is not the one individual who has caused this political event on his own. They believe that there were a group of people that have moved him. Four, a threat. So, a conspiracy theory always shows that the event imposes a threat. Okay, so it stops not with the political event, there is always a threat that continues going on after the event clears up. And five, secrecy. So it is never known who the person is or what their exact aim is when they cause such an event. So there is always a kind of secrecy. And such group of people, they intend to have everything private and everything secret and everything discussed in hidden places. So their exact aim and the people are not, hold uh, let's say, hold to suspect, or they are not suspect of having to do anything with it, while they actually do have a lot to do with the event that's going on. So, in brief, if we have these five key elements, this means that we have a conspiracy theory. We must have a general pattern. The things must be interconnected. There must be a person who performs the event, but there are people who guide this person. They impose a threat and they are extremely secret. So, when we know or we have all heard of the event of September 11th, and this event actually does have multiple, if not hundreds, of conspiracy theories, and I have actually picked out several conspiracy theories that deal or that discuss this event. But let's go through what happened on that day really quickly. So, all of us know that on September 11th, or the 11th of September, we know that several attacks happened in the US. So, there were actually three attacks. One was in New York, one happened in Pennsylvania, and the other one on the Pentagon. Okay, so in New York, which we see right here, New York City, two buildings, or the Twin Towers, were attacked by two planes, and eventually they fell down. In Shanksville, a plane fell. Okay, this plane fell not by accident, but the passengers demanded to control the plane again after hijackers hijacked the plane. So when the passengers wanted to take control of the plane again, the hijackers eventually caused the plane to crash in Shanksville, and in Arlington, the Pentagon was attacked. So nearly 3,000 people died on that day. Okay, and this is one of the mostly or the most discussed events that is still going on till this day. Okay, an event that made the world stop for that moment. So, what are the conspiracy? Age, no, they start thinking in a conspiratorial way. So the first conspiracy theory is that people believe that the American government had knowledge of the event before it took place. So they think that then President George W. Bush was actually in knowledge of the events on that day. So, um, especially when only a few moments after the event took place, there were users like this one here. He says, "Is it just me, or did anyone else recognize that it wasn't an airplane impact that blew up the World Trade Center?" Okay, so they believe that it was not the airplane that caused the building to fall down. No, they believe that there were explosives inside the building and that caused the collapse of the buildings. So it was planned. Okay, so they think that people in the building were of knowledge and they implanted explosive inside the building, and that these people that performed this act were actually directed by the US president of that day, only to uh, um, actually blame the Islam terrorists who were on the front stage, okay, to blame them for this act and to invade Iraq and other Islamic countries or Middle East countries for the oil. So this is what they think. They think that Bush actually performed these events just in order to invade Iraq and to take over the oil, and this is actually what happened. Okay, Bush actually entered Iraq with an excuse of having that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction, and he invaded the country for that reason, according to him. But people say no, he actually invaded it for the oil. So, this is a conspiracy theory that's very much believed, and actually, Chapman University have done a study, a very interesting study on this conspiracy theory, and actually, 54.3% believe that the 9/11 attacks are actually something related to the government, or they believe that the government is hiding the truth. And because they are not revealing the truth, they believe that they have an association with the event, or they are in knowledge of the happenings on that day. Another thing that confirms the idea of people knowing or the government knowing of the event is this man right here. He was employed as a firefighter on the day before the events actually happened. So he says he arrived Monday night on the 10th of September. Okay, a day before the event happened, and then on 11th September the events happened. So people started to think, so why was he employed? He and a very large group of firemen were employed on the 10th of September, and the events took place on 11th September. So what's the reason that they were employed and that they arrived in the country or in the city before the events happened? So people think that this man actually somehow confirmed that the government employed these people just for themselves to reveal that they have knowledge of the events. The second one is believed to concern the plane, and people think that the planes that hit the buildings is actually not a true plane. They think that it's a hologram, okay? The actual blast that we saw on television was actually caused by a bomb. Okay, so they think that a hologram or a picture of a plane was set up and that no actual plane hit the building. Okay, so if we want to say, or if you want to understand what a hologram is, it is a photograph or an image that's made with a laser. Okay, so this is very common these days. So people think that it was a picture, okay, that we apparently saw hit the building, and people do not, or some people do not believe that it was a plane. So, this is another conspiracy theory that many till this day believe. Another conspiracy theory is about this, the building, the third building that actually fell down. It is called World Trade Center 7. This building fell down without being hit by a plane. It fell apparently all by itself. So people started to think that how can a building fall by itself without being hit by a plane or by seeing any explosives? So how did the building fall? So people here again thought that it was um, filled with explosives and that it fell down because the government was in knowledge of its collapse or of the events of this day, and it was taken down by explosives. So this is a very thoughtful conspiracy theory that many also believe. Now, going back to the Pentagon that was attacked on 9/11, we see that uh, here, okay, we see that people do not believe that a huge plane might have caused such a damage. Okay, they believe, how can, okay, here, right here, how can a Boeing 757 cause such a kind of damage? So they think that the plane does not cause such a damage, okay? It does not fit. So they also believe that there is no plane that attacked, but there were explosives that were implanted and that it is an inside job. Now, if we come to all these conspiracy theories, we actually see a connectedness, okay? We see that the five key elements are actually present in all these conspiracy theories, and that's why they continue to exist. So, we can relate the government or the US government with the Illuminati, okay? So, the US government are the people that are on the front line. So they believe that the US government, they have set up Al Qaeda, okay, to perform the action. But the US government is actually controlled by the Illuminati. So if you see, there are people who are interconnected. The Illuminati, they have control of the US government and they are pushing Islamic or so called Islamic terrorists to perform the act. So there is an interconnectedness. This is widely believed. So these people are connected to the things that happen. So the people who performed it, or Al Qaeda, they attacked the Twin Towers, they attacked the Pentagon, and they attacked the White House. So, and what happened after it? There was an attack in the Middle East, and the Middle East was invaded eventually by the US government and they took the oil. So we see here a cycle is going on, okay? So the US government and the Illuminati, they deal with Al Qaeda and then they perform the attack, and then the attack leads to the invasion and the invasion caused them to be rich. So this cycle or this pattern, we can call it, is one of the key elements that is confirming the first element of a conspiracy theory. Now, if we want to see the agent, so who is the secret group or who is the person who performs this act? Actually, we have the Illuminati, and I suppose that everyone knows who the Illuminati are. They look forward to control, they look forward to control the world, to control the media, to control everything that is or that gives them wealth and power. They don't care about people's lives, they care to control everything and everyone. So, as an agent, it's very clear who they are. And because they control the US government, so people believe that the government actually has a strong association with the Illuminati. Now, with who performs this? Their love for control and power and money and wealth. Al Qaeda, we see them here. They are a group, the coalition. They are the group of people who perform the act. They perform everything the Illuminati wants in order to capture the wealth and control. So Al Qaeda, they are actually not very intelligent people because they only get money, but they cause the Illuminati and the US government to be filled with control and power and demands. So, do they impose a threat? Yes. They not only imposed a threat on America themselves or on the American people, but they also caused terrorism in the Middle East. Okay, so when George W. Bush actually declared a global war on terrorism, all they imposed actually was a threat on Iraq, on Afghanistan, on any country they invaded during that period until this day. They impose a threat, a constant threat in the Middle East, and this is what they want because they want the nations that are rich to be powerless. Okay, they want to control the riches and they want the country to remain powerless. This is their aim, and they are actually succeeding. And secrecy. So, all of what I have discussed, that it is Illuminati, the US government, has no 100% confirmation. Okay, why? Because they are very secret. Never did George W. Bush appear on TV and say that he was the reason or that he was related to the Illuminati. Okay? Why? Because they are very secret. Okay? So these are only ideas that are common, but no confirmation can be given. That is because they have a high taste of secrecy. So, because we have the five elements right here, we have the agent, the coalition, secrecy, the threat, we have a pattern. That's why all of these conspiracy theories are actually very important or are still going on. So, the last part, we want to see how these conspiracy theories affected the literary field. So, in post 9/11 literature, we see that people started to publish books in which they express the conspiracy theory that are related to this incident. So, for example, we have Thierry Mason, he is a French journalist. He published this book, 11 September 2001, Le Formidable Imposture. Okay, so here, this book, he published in, let's see, he published this after the incidents happened, and he explains and even attacks the US government that they have knowledge of the attacks beforehand. So, with this book, which was a bestseller, he explained and he expresses all of his conspiratorial thinking in a very literary way. So, and it was a success, but the US government attacked this book fiercely, and they said that this book was considered as misinformation and it was widely condemned. Okay. So it affected the post 9/11 literary world. Now, actually, it also affected other things. We have also, of course, we have pre 9/11 things in the fictional world or in the animated world. We have, for example, the cartoons. Okay, all of these cartoons we see here, we see this picture, this one, this one, this one, and this one. We see that these five pictures are actually only examples of how cartoons apparently know about the incident before 9/11 actually happened. So, for example, The Simpsons, who is not or who are no uh, stranger to the incident, we see that they have this magazine, and this is Lisa Bart. She's holding this magazine, and on it says New York, and it is $9. And we see here the Twin Towers, and it appears that it says 9/11. So people think that this cartoon, which was aired in 1997, they think that this cartoon actually knew beforehand that it knew about the incident before it took place. Before it took place in 2001, this was in 1997, and they think this is very suspicious. All of these cartoons where we see the building on fire, the building here falling or breaking, we see this cartoon Sesame Street, we see that the Cookie Monster is here actually eating the buildings. Okay, we see here this cartoon also saying, look, it's the towers, they're falling. So all of these, if you see 2001 in April, 1983, 1979, 1948, we see that it appears to be foreshadowing. And foreshadowing is something that uh, says that an idea is given before an incident happens, okay? So, foreshadowing, if something is expressed and then after that the event happens, it's called foreshadowing. So, they appear to foreshadow the incident before it actually takes place. Now, movies also were thought to have foreshadowed the incident, like for example, this movie, which is called Back to the Future. This movie has several signs that makes it appear that they knew about the incident that's going to happen 10 years or 20 years later. 20 years? No, 15 years later. Okay? So, what does this movie talk about? This movie talks about terrorists or Libyan terrorists right here that attack a mall that is called Twin Pines Mall. Okay, twin. It says twin. So people start to relate. Does that mean, or they thought that it was very similar to terrorists who attacked the Twin Towers. Now, we have a 9/11 Twin Towers were attacked, and in this movie, Twin Pines Mall was attacked. So, very suspicious. Also, if we look in the movie, we see that there are certain watches who show 9/11 signs right here. If we revert it, it says 9/11. If we see this clock, it says 9/11. Okay, 9. It is 9, and the big pointer says was pointing to the 11. We see this woman right here who is screaming. We see a pyramid after her, which is a reference to the Illuminati. So this movie is thought to be a very foreshadowing of the event. So in conclusion, the fictional world was affected, whether it was foreshadowing, whether it was before the incident happened, like we said, in the world of the cinema, the animation world, even in the literary field, in the fictional world, there are incidents that are interpreted very differently today after the incident has happened. And even the post 9/11 literature was very much influenced, and people started to write their conspiracy theories inside the literature. So, I hope that my presentation was very beneficial, very interesting, and I want to thank everyone involved in this amazing conference. To thank them from my deepest of my heart, and I also want to thank my colleagues who worked with me on this project, assistant lecturer Wafa Abbas and Miss Amany Abdulridha for giving their interests and their ideas with me while working on this project. I also would love to thank all of you, the audience who are listening and who have hopefully benefited from this lecture. Thank you so much. I also look forward to look at all the projects that are being given in this conference, and I hope we meet on the next one next year. So thank you so much. With you was Assistant Lecturer Sabrina Abdulkadhom, and thank you so much again. Goodbye. Thank you.